faire le mieux que je peux. Ah, la présentation s'appellera en anglais, désolé. Alors, je vous demande de mettre le lecteur si vous avez besoin. I will do my best to respect the time, but I ask you to do your best. Do not fall asleep. Because of the hour, it's not easy, it won't be easy, but I'll try to not be so boring. Well, this presentation.
Allô, allô, vous m'entendez?
Like this. Okay, yeah, good. Then, well, what I end with this presentation first is to stimulate the debate that we talk about the innovative and gender-sensitive services that are needed in this area of work, these practices that we need to put in place. I'm highlighting also the role of the producer organizations and the cooperatives within the dairy value chain. And I want to share an experience that has been taking place in Kenya from 2017 in the context of a project that we have developed together with the Ministry of Agriculture, but also the Kamoshi Training Center and the Lait cooperative, dairy cooperative. I will pass this slide because it talks about the global trends. We all heard since yesterday the important role of dairies to address the increase of people that are undernourished and the poverty that is increasing in the world. So I will just go through quickly. There's a statement here where I tried is to highlight the important role to push and support the dairy sector. In Africa particularly, we have 7% of all dairy produced, traded in Africa, are supplied locally. Only 7%. So there's a huge gap here that this will imply that we need to import more milk until we generate the capacity of the local producers. Concentrated on the gender dynamics in the dairy value chain, I will say that women play a significant role. From yesterday we heard, and I'm really, really happy to hear the important role they are playing. Almost 80% of the work that is done on production is managed by women. And it was really highlighted during several presentations. Not only production, also processing, marketing, consumption, and within this area they are also taking care of household activities, care duties, and other productive activities. So there is, within the household and the way they are involved in the dairy value chain, there are interactions and power relations that are in place that are influencing the way that the milk is produced. And this will have an impact on the economic, social, and environmental sustainability of the chain. So addressing the gender inequalities has the potential to trigger positive effects in addressing this sustainability of the food system. If we maintain the gender inequalities, that will prevent women and girls from participating and benefiting equally. That means that we will have missed opportunities in achieving more equality. This is because they have a huge workload. They have a gender division that reduces their control of what they produce and sell. They remain concentrated in the low-skilled, low-paid nodes of the chain, and also their involvement are generally declining as the activity becomes more lucrative and more important. In terms of economic sustainability, also the gender inequalities will generate, will distortionate the performance of the chain. We'll have a lot of inefficiencies that will then be missed opportunities for buyers, input providers, or consumers. And this is true because they have limited control of the resources, the services, and the technologies that they need to better produce. They might have, with this knowledge gap, more losses in the product while processing and milking. and the poor access to training and information will make it difficult for them to reach the quality and the safety standards that are needed. To address these constraints, FAO has developed a framework and some tools to address these difficulties that women are facing. So during 2016-2018, we have created a framework to address gender-sensitive value chain development, a guiding for practitioners, tools that will help them to identify the main constraints women face and how to deal with it, how to help policymakers and practitioners, and also to improve the efficiency of the chain. One example is the last tool regarding the reduction of food losses. So what we want to reach in a concrete example, fostering, I would say that there are evidence that shows that women might have some good things to bring to the chain if we target interventions promoting a greater participation for the site, because the evidence says that women are active milk suppliers in the groups. They might supply even more milk. They produce better results when they have a woman as leader of the organization or the group or the cooperative. Also, they have might increase the number of members in a cooperative, and the targeting involving women in these interventions will show better results in terms of the constant milk supply, the hygienic of the product, higher milk volumes, and a better quality. We have a concrete example. This case is in Kenya, as we're saying, in the Nandi County. This is an area that is, has a very, very important role in the production of milk in the region. This cooperative was created in 1962, so it's an old cooperative that is organized in hubs, providing services on financial, credit, savings, veterinarian services. So they already were structured and organized as a hub. We did a participatory assessment of all the chain and identified some entry points to support the cooperative, women and men members, and to identify a strategy to increase the participation of women. So, to address the constraints we have identified, we created the Business Service Center, the Lessons Business Service Center, and we created a portfolio of services. A key issue was to have gender-specific training, meaning all the trainings were thought and created, taking into consideration the role of women and the constraint they had to reach the training, to participate, because they have mobility restrictions, time constraints, they are illiterate. So we took into consideration all these elements to create the portfolio and the content. There were also the identification of services that were needed, on-hand training, accompanying them in creating, for example, some small enterprises or initiatives through exhibitions, field visits, exchanges, demonstrations, accompanying them to identify the needed market information, and also we identified the services that were related to social issues that were also needed for them in order to participate, to engage. So we linked to public and private external services regarding dairy farming, labor-saving technologies, agricultural inputs, financial services, social services such as reproductive health or insurance. So this is more or less what this is a complex schema, but just to say that we have some inputs from the project. We have set up the Lessons Business Service Center in the context within the cooperative. Then we have the functioning with all the services I mentioned, and the results that we got from this intervention on the technical farming skills, developing technology, financial services, social services, health insurance, etc. She is the coordinator of this initiative. There are promising outcomes from this experience. The coordinator had the skills to be a community leader, to engage other community members and other members of the cooperative. At the end, we have 50% of all the trained were women. And I think that a key issue was to involve men within the trainings and in all the initiatives. Here are some of the results that we reached. 40 startups, small enterprises, which 35 were led by women. We had access to rural finances. We increased really significantly because it's a very short time that we had. Women were 58% of all the monthly savers that were before the project 48. We had accessing 59% of total value of the loans that were 39. We accessed external services. There were 25 service providers involved in the initiative. And we also had some volunteers to be the gender champions within the community to promote this initiative. Key drivers of success of this experience. The first one has to do with the relevance of the service. We built these services responding to the needs that we had identified, together with the cooperative, together with the women that were participating in the value chain assessment. So the services are not taken out of a manual, but is responding to a reality. Peer-to-peer training is really important. Accompanying your own neighbor that is starting or having this initiative that you already have, you were trained, and then inviting him or her was really important also. The structure of this business service centers that's been embedded in the cooperative was also key to have results. Partnerships, because the center cannot provide all what is needed. So it doesn't have the expertise, it doesn't need to have the expertise, but be able to refer to other experts or service providers to then deal with the demand. Another issue was to have closed the hub on the financial and services, because we need money to continue improving the way the women and men were producing. Challenges. We had a lot of challenges. The program was covering just the pilot phase, the initial phase, and we needed more time to address all the process. And overall, that it was a community initiative. We also challenged the issue that training women to have initiatives on small enterprises. We need to ensure the financial resources for that. We have also to deal with cultural norms and mobility restrictions that were facing women for all these initiatives of participating in exhibitions or training, and the gender capacity gaps that we face with all the actors. For example, the Kamoshi Training Center, a governmental center that was involved in the initiative, we need to do a lot of training with them also, or with the ministry or the local authorities. Then global challenges that coupled advocacy work with interventions like this is really challenging, because we need to be technically focused, adapted to the context. We have time-bound restrictions with the time. We need to deal with direct, positive, and quick impacts. We need results that will allow us to then have more people involved and so to grow and have more roots.
2 minutes, Alessandra.
And then one final challenge is that being conducive to long-term challenges in social norms. That doesn't mean that these changes are not happening. Because we have very often the excuse saying, no, behavioral change, social norms, culture is really difficult to address. But the experience says that we have really a very good result in a very short period of time, but that will need more time to continue and even to follow up action. I will just close saying that the Lessons Business Service Center give us an opportunity to learn. This experience has shown results, solid in a few period of time. I think also that these initiatives are reinforcing local economies that then trigger other elements for the economy that will have a short result on the well-being. And this is one initiative that I hope that you can learn more in the web page of the Congress, of the symposium. You can find the whole paper with a more details of what we have been exposed. Thank you.
Merci Alessandra. Donc j'appelle René Mélogon.